Coming up on the final play, the Saints' first-team offense hits on all cylinders. The defense improves, while special teams coverage units continue to struggle. A complete breakdown of last night's beatdown of the Texans, a preseason game that featured more than 70,000 strong, screaming Houdats.
It was awesome. It was about as big a preseason crowd as I've ever seen.
It may be the preseason, but we're in regular season mode on the final play.
From Fox 8 Sports, this is the final play with Rob Ennis. Brought to you by Firestone Complete Auto Care and by Whitney Bank.
All it took was a homecoming for the Super Bowl champs to regain their swagger. Welcome to the final play. Plenty positives from last night's thrashing of the Texans, starting with the first-team offense. Powerful, efficient, and productive. The Saints showed why they sport the NFL's top-ranked offense, torching the Texans in time of possession, first downs, and points.
I think that was just the kind of tone we want to set as a running back group, as an offense, not just me, but collectively. We know it's going to be important that all phases of our offense are intact. So I think we really tried to go out there and just establish a solid run game, be physical, and just establish our presence fast and physical.
I thought we had some good tempo early on, and I was pleased that we were able to score early.
Reggie's 9-yard touchdown capped off an 11-play, 72-yard opening drive.
It felt like forever. It was. I think we did a lot of things right on that drive. I think you saw, Drew complete some passes. I think you saw the running game, getting up the field, getting at least 4 yards every time we touched the ball. And that was our mindset.
The Super Bowl MVP finished 5 of 10 for 36 yards. He played 3 series, led the first-team offense on 2 scoring drives. Before he dove in from a yard out, Breeze added another play to his highlight reel. While falling to the turf, he somehow managed to complete the pass to Marcus Colston for the first down.
He's going to stumble, but then watch this throw. It's a bullet over to Marcus Colston.
Hey, it's third down. Try to make a play, get a completion, convert, and you move the chains. And then, we come right back with a quarterback sneak and are able to punch it in the end zone. So it's kind of a bam-bam, 2 plays in a row where you're trying to catch him off guard. And, Marcus made a nice play of sliding in the zone, getting open. And, we work on those kind of things a lot. So we try to make it look easy, but it's not.
The Saints ran over the Texans all night, outgaining Houston with 198 rushing yards to just 48.
We were labeled a couple years ago as a finesse team, so, we harp on being physical. That goes from the offensive line to the running back to everybody, so it's good to see pads, hearing pads and seeing the running backs finish on plays like that.
I thought we ran the ball very effectively tonight. We converted some third downs running the football. That's a great group in front of me. And even as we, moved on to the second group, they were doing the same thing. We've made that conscious effort to be very balanced, and obviously feel like we got some pretty good horses running with the football too. So, when you're able to stay balanced, mixed to running the pass, you're hard to defend.
I thought we got off the ball pretty good. I thought we protected pretty well. We had a good mix of run and pass. And, I think it's a pretty good defense we played, just having practiced with them now a couple days. So, I was pleased how those guys played early on.
The defending champs said they wanted to regain their swagger. With the help of the Houdat Nation, they did.
They definitely showed up today. It almost felt like a regular season game with how packed it was in there.
It was awesome. It was about as big a preseason crowd as I've ever seen. Obviously, people are excited for football season to be back here again, as are we. And, heck, even the media gets this nice new room. Trying to take care of you guys too. But no, it's exciting to get back in this dome. See some of the renovations. Obviously, our new locker room, and then, you get out into the element, and just like I said, it was probably the most rowdy preseason crowd I've ever seen, and that just gets you excited for the regular season.
Chase Daniel may be a Cinderella man now, but he was the man at Missouri. Can Chase back up the man in black and gold? He believes so. All Chase needed was a chance. Last night he got it and made the most of it. Confident, calm, total command of the offense. Chase Daniel played like a seasoned vet last night, even though it was just his first NFL game experience.
I think I've played, pretty well. There are some things that, we'll get fixed in film and stuff like that. I'm a stickler for perfection and didn't play as well as I possibly could. Mess up some stuff in the run game, but I felt like I was able to go out there. I was confident, I was comfortable, and just really try to run the huddle, get in and out of the huddle, and just really play hard. I
just wanted to see how he would do, number one, with the first offense, and then how he would handle it with the second offense. And there's some good things. His job is to move the football and score. And so, to his credit, we did that.
Daniel took over for Drew Brees in the second quarter. He tossed 2 touchdown passes before the half. The first one, a 31-yard screen to Pierre Thomas.
Nice block. He set sail. Touchdown.
Coach called a perfect play. I mean, they dropped. It was man coverage actually, and Big Carl Nix had a great block on that touchdown play, and so did our receivers. Pierre did the rest. Daniel showed his poise, executing a 4-minute drive before the half. He threw a strike to Adrian Arrington, good for 48 yards.
Chase Daniels delivers a bullet.
He used his wheels to convert on 3rd and 3. He then used his head, smart enough to spike the ball, saving enough time for this 1-yard touchdown to Zach Kesey on the final play of the half.
Whether it was a field goal or a touchdown, that was up to coach, but I think that we ran the, it really wasn't a 2-minute situation because we were down there soon enough, and we were able to huddle and really bleed the clock down. And what I was impressed with was coach's play calling was there was no time on the clock left. It was 4th and goal with 4 seconds left. We were able to run the clock off completely, didn't even have to kick off, and that's what, I was happy about.
He wasn't happy about his 3rd quarter interception or his delay of game penalty.
Didn't start off as well as I wanted to in the second half. Made a dumb decision there on the interception, but hey, that happens.
His job isn't to throw interceptions, and his job isn't to let the play clock run out. And there's a lot for him to work on. But the repetitions, you really can't simulate, for especially a quarterback when they're live. And so, I wanted him to get a lot of snaps and play, and so there'll be a lot of good tape for him. I mean, that'll be a good experience for him.
After tossing 3 touchdown passes in his NFL debut, Daniel received praise from his mentor, Drew Brees.
I was really proud of Chase. He's worked extremely hard. He's, as I look throughout this offseason, the time that he committed himself to not only, preparing himself physically, but mentally studying the offense. He's a competitive guy who's, had success despite the odds, throughout his entire career, going all the way back, high school, college, and now, to get really his first significant amount of playing time, albeit the preseason. He wins games, he makes plays. Got to be something to be said for that.
Drew's one of my best friends, and we've been together for about a year now, and just really gotten close, and he was just so proud of how I handled the huddle and how well I responded to adversity on some 3rd down plays and made some plays with my feet and just really took command of the huddle. And I think he was real proud of me for that. He's like a big brother of sorts, but I'll go in and talk to him, pick his brain on what I did wrong, how I need to improve, and we'll take it to San Diego next week.
Daniel hooked up with Arrington for his 3rd touchdown pass of the night. Another big game for the Michigan product, 2nd straight week. He's hauled in the longest pass of the night, 51 yards in Foxborough, 48 last night in the Dome. He finished with 71 yards on 4 catches, helping his case to earn a roster spot.
I say if I can just continue to make plays week in and week out, I got a fairly good chance. I'm feeling more and more confident out here in practice and then just translating it into the games. And, these quarterbacks, Chase and Pat, feeling more and more comfortable with me. We're just going out here and making plays in these games.
The defense made plays last night, 3 and outs, a sack, even forced a turnover. They shouldn't have to do up downs this week, but you never know with Greg Williams. We do know the D stepped up last night. Sean Fazan explains why.
If the goal was improvement from preseason game 1 to preseason game 2, then mission accomplished for the Saints defense.
first preseason game is never going to be perfect. We identified the things that we needed to improve on, and I think you saw it tonight.
Last week against the Patriots, we thought we didn't come out with our same swagger that we have, playing with our same intensity, and you know, we kind of focused on that all week to try to get the ball loose and try to be more active in pursuit, a lot of different things. And, you know, I think overall we came out and played a lot better than we did last week.
First and foremost, they got back to doing what they do under Greg Williams. After forcing 0 turnovers last week against the Patriots, the Saints got 2 against the Texans.
Ball's on the ground.
Cedric Ellis recovered an Arian Foster fumble, while Pearson Prelude recovered a muff of LSU product Trendon Holiday. Defensive end Will Smith said their motivation for takeaways came earlier this week in practice.
That's something that we worked on, you know, and like I said, we didn't really get a chance to work on it a lot when we were up in New England, and we kind of went back to the drawing board and did those up downs that everybody hates. And, you know, you could see it today. Everybody was trying to get that ball loose, you know, if they had an opportunity to. And fortunately, we had a couple turnovers today, and hopefully we won't have to do no more up downs.
In all, the first teamers played a half and gave up 10 points to Houston and were aided by a fast start by the NFL's top-ranked offense. A recipe for success for last year's Super Bowl run.
If you want to go back to last year and look at the way we played, all 3 phases of this team always complement each other somehow, some way, whether it's offense complementing defense, vice versa. Special teams stepped up in games last year to help out offensively, defensively. So if we continue to do that, we'll be a tough team to beat.
Another area the Saints defense improved from 1 week ago was in the pass rush. Against Houston, the Saints had 2 sacks and 4 hurries and constantly harassed Matt Schaub and Dan Orlovsky all night long. Rob?
A big part of the defensive improvement had to do with tackling. They didn't wrap up against the Patriots, but they sure tackled the Texans. John Henry Smith explains.
Well, after Julian Edelman ran around and through the Saints in their preseason opener, it is no wonder, of course, that the players say they focused a lot of their efforts during the previous week of practice on tackling. It certainly showed against the Texans.
I think we tackled better, and that was definitely a point of emphasis this week. And that's what we did great last year, is everybody ran the ball, swarmed the ball carrier, never let one guy out to make a tackle on the one-on-one all the time. And we got back to that tonight.
You know, we kind of focused on that all week to try to get the ball loose and try to be more active in pursuit, a lot of different things. And, you know, I think overall we came out and played a lot better than we did last week, and we made a lot more plays and kind of controlled the tempo of the game.
So I did think we tackled better. We'll watch the film, and then we'll grade it tomorrow after you guys do.
While the defense as a whole was better, one player in particular was a bit worse from the New England game. Jonathan Casillas had 10 tackles against the Patriots, only 1 against the Texans, and he had a bit of trouble in pass coverage. I'm John Henry Smith for The Final Play.
John Henry, thanks. Still to come on The Final Play. It wasn't a flawless game by the defending champs. There's still work to do. Coming up, hear what Sean Payton says about the 9 penalties that cost his team 97 yards. We're just heating up on The Final Play.
You're watching The Final Play from Fox 8 Sports.
We're struggling covering kicks, covering punts. A lot of things that are sloppy that we need to clean up.
Like 9 penalties for 97 yards, enough for Sean Payton to lose his mind. Yes, it's only the preseason. No, those flags didn't cost the Saints a win last night, but they eventually could in the regular season. Sean Fazan on Penalty Patrol from the Dome.
Despite a game where the Saints scored 38 points, rushed for nearly 200 yards, and dominated on both sides of the ball, the black and gold still have plenty to improve on. Most notably,
personal foul, number 69.
The penalties just stick in your gut the wrong way.
And all the Saints were penalized 9 times for 97 yards, including 3 on the Texans' first-teamers' lone touchdown drive.
One series, there's, you know, we've got them 3rd down, we're off the field, personal foul. The next play, there's 12 guys on the field. The next play, you know, we're in the neutral zone and single-handedly allow them to move the ball down the field.
And it's a drive linebacker Scott Shanley says defensive coordinator Greg Williams won't be happy with once he watches the tape.
No, he's not going to be too happy about it. And, you know, the great thing about it is a lot of guys aren't happy about it. You know, when the players start taking ownership and aren't happy with those type of results, you're going to have good things. And I think we realize that we played pretty well on defense in the first half. It's just that one drive kind of irritates people still.
Payton says penalties in the preseason are one thing, but too many yellow flags in the regular season can be the difference between wins and losses.
The penalties, though, obviously, when you get into the regular season, will kill you. I mean, 100 yards, that's worth 7 points in regards to yardage, so that's not good enough.
And those 9 penalties were certainly uncommon for the Saints. Last season, the team averaged just over 5 penalties a game.
And the defense would have had 2 straight 3-and-outs except for that Anthony Hargrove late hit penalty.
And that's what Coach Payton was talking about. You know, when you have a chance to get off the field because it could lead to bad things for your offense, bad things for your defense, and could result in a win or a loss.
Sean, thanks. Much more with you straight ahead.
Still to come on the final play, the race is on. Replace Lionel Hamilton. Will it be Chris Ivory, P.J. Hill, or Liddell Betts? See what the 2 young backs did last night as we roll along on the final play.
You're watching the final play from Fox 8 Sports.
Right tackle John Stinchcomb did not play against the Texans. He sat out due to a bruised shoulder, giving Zach Strief the start last night. Strief spoke to Sean Fazan after the win.
Zach got the start tonight. Did you know that going in, or what point did you know you were going to get the start for Jonathan tonight?
You know, John tweaked his shoulder a little bit a couple days ago, so you know, they told us yesterday, or you know, it's just preventative for him. So a couple days ago.
So for you, kind of always been that utility kind of you know, reserve and go and really plug in. How did it feel being at the right tackle position?
You know, it's always good to get reps. You know, I felt like it was okay. A lot of stuff to work on, and you know, that's team-wide. We all have a lot of stuff to work on, but you know, we're glad to get out with a win. It was important for us to get a win tonight.
But in saying that, you guys opened up the first drive with a pretty physical drive, and you responded with a pretty explosive drive, so you saw both sides of the Saints offense.
You know, Coach Payton's it's a lot of fun to play for him, the way he calls plays, and you know, we do have both of those aspects. We've got, you know, 2 of the best guards in football, and we can run the ball, and then obviously with Drew we can sling it around a little bit. So it's good to get both of those in.
Yeah, I got to think last week 2 3-and-outs to start out just didn't sit well. The fast start was a point of emphasis this week.
Yeah, you know, it's always a point of emphasis for us, and it was good to get some good drives in early tonight and get into a rhythm, and you know, we rely on that rhythm a lot, and you know, to kind of feel like we were clicking again was good.
Just had that feel of just Saints winning football tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's again a lot of stuff to work on, but you know, a few more bright spots this week than last week, and hopefully it continues next week.
All right, thanks a lot, Zach Strief. Appreciate it, man.
Strief opened up holes for Chris Ivory and P.J. Hill last night. The 2 young backs got a lot of work. Ivory a game-high 20 carries for 66 yards. Hill 32 yards on 6 carries. Both players trying to make the most of their touches in the preseason.
Every time I go in, I gotta, you know, make the best of it, take advantage of the opportunities. I'm just, you know, trying to make this team. I'm pretty sure we all out there competing, but you know, that's just the nature of the game. But when you go out there, you just gotta you gotta take advantage of the opportunities and let the coaches know that you know what you're doing when you're out there.
I thought pretty good. You know, we'll look at the tape, but I thought they, you know, there's a couple times they got off their landmarks, you know, and we took a minus play, but I thought they ran hard. I thought they, you know, there was some hidden yardage there, and I thought they did some good things.
Malcolm Jenkins is looking to do good things at safety. Coming up, we'll go one-on-one with number 27, who could be in the starting lineup come September 9th if Darren Sharper isn't ready. You're watching the final play on the home of the Saints.
You're watching the final play from Fox 8 Sports.
A few weeks ago, Greg Williams said the Saints drafted Malcolm Jenkins to eventually be their safety, not corner. With Darren Sharper slowed by off-season knee surgery, Jenkins' time could come sooner than first thought. Sean Fazan, one-on-one with the Saints' current starter at free safety.
Malcolm, a little bit more like Saints football tonight.
Yeah, you know, this is a little bit more our tempo. You know, we played hard. You know, little things we got to fix up, but the effort was great.
When you look at it, the opening 2 drives of offense come in, get 2 quick touchdowns. You guys get a turnover. It was the formula for success last year. Seems like it worked again tonight.
Oh yeah, I mean, we always want to, you know, get turnovers. We know our offense is going to put up points, and the more times we can get them possessions, it, you know, helps us out on defense a lot.
Last week, point of emphasis coming from last week to this week was, of course, the tackling. It looked like you guys really shored that up tonight.
Yeah, for the most part, you know, we had, you know, a few missed tackles here and there, but for the most part, it was much improved from last week. And, you know, that's the key, is just getting better every week.
And last question, you guys are going to look at film and look at some of the things you need to correct. I would think first thing that stuck out to me at least was the penalties. Yeah. I mean, there was a few penalties on that one drive, 4 penalties led to a touchdown. It's just kind of showing up things like that to get you guys back on track.
Yeah, I think we had 7 penalties for 100 yards or something like that. You know, that's not winning football, and that's something that we got to clean up. But the fact that we had as much success as we did with all those penalties is another good point for us. So just got to go back to the drawing board and fix those little things.
Sean, thanks. For Sean Fazan and John Henry Smith, I'm Rob Ennis, and that's your final play.
This is the last word on sports. 4th down on 4 starts now.
He's not 6 foot, he's 5'11". No, I'm 6 foot 1/4 inch. I'm actually half an inch taller than him. There's this dispute as to whether he's 6 foot. Really what it is he's a rookie, and we're just going to give him a hard time. So that's the way it is.
Drew Brees just couldn't resist taking a few jabs at Chase Daniel, really, though, taking issue with the Saints media guide, which has both he and Daniel listed at an even 6 feet tall. Welcome into 4th down. 2 series, 2 early touchdowns meant an early exit for Brees, and more time for Chase Daniel. Brees was impressed, he would say, after the game, but unlike the starting quarterback, the Saints head coach doling out praise with much more pursed lips after last night's 38-20 win. "15 of 21, 182 yards, 3 scores, but Chase Daniel's lone interception has his head coach taking a page from comedian Chris Rock.
His job is to move the football and score, and so to his credit, we did that, and yet his job isn't to throw interceptions, and his job isn't to let the play clock run out, and you know, there's a lot for him to work on.
But Daniel may not get another opportunity like Saturday night. From the 3rd offensive series until the Saints were in the victory formation, Daniel was under center, piling up a quarterback rating just north of 117 and leading the Saints to 24 points, numbers he humbly attributes to his teammates, especially the starters he was fortunate enough to get snaps with.
Those guys blocking for you are amazing up front, and you look at those receivers that we have: Colston, Devereaux, Lance. I mean, I could go on and on. Shockey, Dave Thomas, Pierre Thomas, Reggie Bush. I mean, playing with those guys, it makes you a better quarterback.
At some point, I just wanted to see how he would do, number one, with the first offense, and then how he would handle it with the second offense. And you know, there's some good things.
I was really proud of Chase. You know, he's worked extremely hard. He's, you know, as I look throughout this offseason, you know, the time that he committed himself to not only, you know, preparing himself physically, but mentally studying the offense.
Those words might have carried the most weight. Daniel has latched on to Drew Brees in his 2 years in New Orleans and looked every bit the part of a little brother in search of approval.
Drew's been like a big brother to me, and he's really just been there for me when I need him to lean on and ask advice. He's more than willing out there. He's out there and telling me what to do on this play and that play, and just giving me advice that really sometimes the coaches can't tell you. Just player advice to go out there, handle the huddle. He thought I played well, and so it's always good when he thinks.
The affection appears to be mutual, if for no other reason than their backgrounds. Both were standout high school quarterbacks in a state where everything is bigger except them. Their vertical challenges stunted, but the Super Bowl MVP still appreciates production over potential any day.
He makes plays. Got to be something to be said for that, you know, despite the size or whatever everybody else wants to focus on. So I've been in that boat before, so I know where he's at.
Patrick Ramsey will get the majority of the snaps after Drew Brees next week, probably even getting a shot to take some snaps with the ones as well. Here's a comparative look at the 2 backup quarterbacks this preseason. Ramsey has just played in 1 game thus far. His numbers, solid. Perhaps the best number he's put up is really no number at all. 0 interceptions
compared to 2 picks in 2 games for Daniel. Normally, this guy would not need an introduction, but since he's wearing a suit and a tie today, Bradley Handwerger, he writes for WWLTV.com. I know you've read some of his stuff. Thanks for coming down. Right now, after 2 preseason games, who is your backup quarterback, Ramsey or Daniel?
Surely not Sean Canfield. It's a very interesting question because heading into last night's game, I would have said Patrick Ramsey.
Hands down.
Hands down. He looked much better in the game against the Patriots. And once he had that week against the Patriots, his practices have been a lot crisper. But then Chase is thrown in the game last night with the first-team offense, and they're leading down the field and scoring. He scored on 4 of 7 possessions. He was the quarterback. That's a pretty good percentage. I mean, he had the turnover. He knows that. There were a couple checks that he missed. But by and large, Chase looked like the backup quarterback last night. Now, Patrick will get this chance this week against San Diego as the second guy going.
I think that's when you really have to kind of gauge this competition. Let Patrick also run with the ones a little bit, because if you just look at the body of work from a practice standpoint, as you kind of said, hands down it's Patrick Ramsey, but something happens. I thought Jeff Duncan brought up a pretty good point in his article today in the Times-Picayune. Something happens when the lights come on, and Chase Daniel just shows that moxie that you saw him have in college, that you've seen him have in that first preseason game as well.
Absolutely. I mean, they talk about kids and players who are much better when the game lights come on, when it's game time, and coaches don't like that. They'd rather the players practice as well as they play the games, but there's something to be said about the guys who play well in the games, and Chase apparently is one of those guys.
Defensively, you needed to see a marked improvement from that New England game to this week. Did you see enough? You thought obviously the tackling was a little better.
I don't know if it's enough, but there were definite improvements. The tackling was better, as you said. The play on the line and at the linebacking spot was much better, a little more solid. The holes were plugged. You didn't see any of those other than the touchdown run. There weren't any long runs, any ridiculous runs that you're just shaking your head at. On the other hand, there were still some issues in the back. The secondary let up a lot of passes that were deep.
Jabari Greer had the miscommunication, which usually doesn't happen.
Absolutely, and I think they're still working things out there. I mean, again, he's out there sometimes with Malcolm Jenkins. He's used to playing with Darren Sharper. Yeah. There's still some communication and some rhythm that they need to get into. Luckily, it's the preseason. You can do that. I mean, the San Diego game will be kind of the true test. That's when you get most of the starters out.
Defense played better. So did Adrian Arrington. It's a pattern that we're seeing with the young wide receiver. He progressively improves with each preseason game. Juan Kincaid, though, with the story on can he stay healthy?
There's just something about the second preseason game and the Houston Texans that brings out the best in Adrian Arrington. Think back to last season. Same bat time, same bat channel, same type of head-turning performance against the Texans. 3 catches, 77 yards then. Last night, 3 catches, 71 yards, and his first NFL touchdown. For some, making it in the NFL is more of a journey, a wait and see. And no one can accuse the Saints coaching staff of rushing to judgment on Arrington. Now in his 3rd NFL season, Arrington's career has been more about potential than results, because the results haven't been there because of injuries.
These guys have been showing me a lot of patience being nicked up my first couple of years. You know, most guys, young guys, you get nicked up your first couple of years. A lot of times in this business, they get rid of you.
He spent his entire rookie season on injured reserve with a turf toe injury. 2009 saw him limited with hamstring issues and on the team's practice squad. So 2010 has been all about staying healthy and staying active and repaying the coaches for their patience.
When you're in a program for going on 3 years now, you know, you pretty much learn everything. Like I know all 3 wide receiver positions now, which also gives me a little advantage in trying to make a roster spot on this team, because, you know, it's something that coaches can see, and I'm a guy that can come in if one of our top guys goes down. I can come in and fill that role, you know. So just being around for these few years, you know, has definitely helped me learn defenses, be able to read everything a lot faster.
I thought the big play versus cover 2 where he caught down the middle of the defense, sparked us. And, he's been pretty steady in this camp, which is a positive.
Everything's so much faster than normal, you know, so everything's starting to slow down for me now, and I'm just making plays now.
You're thinking it less now, aren't you?
Absolutely. You know, everything's just kind of visual. I see it right away now instead of thinking as I'm doing it.
Again, it's only one game, and it's the second preseason game, historically shown to be when he peaks. But there's just something about Arrington this time around that says this could be the season he shows he belongs in the NFL. Now, we don't want to say this was a last chance opportunity for Arrington, but look, this is the guy that's been in the Saints system now for 3 years. He hasn't been able to stay healthy, but he's shown enough potential to all those coaches, especially Sean Payton, that he deserves another chance to stick around with this football team. Has very good hands, and even Chase Daniels said last night, when I'm on the field, I'm looking for him first.
I would be too. I mean, but here's the question. Is he playing good enough at this point for Sean Payton to consider 6 wide receivers, something he's never done before?
I would say 2 weeks ago, Adrian wouldn't make the team. You know, he's off injured, as Juan said. He's not on the practice field, but 2 games of preseason, he's had 2 really nice games, and he's proving that whether he misses practice or not, he's another guy like Chase who shows up when the game lights are on. He's making it hard for the coaches to not keep him.
Yeah. One thing he said it's probably benefited him, the fact he's had so much time off from not playing because of the injuries or being on injury reserve and all that, is that he's been able to learn the other 3 positions. So he knows all the wide receiver positions. If someone goes down, he's the guy they can fill in there. I think this year he makes his football team, and he's actually on the active roster playing. I think if you think Roby's the other guy that gets in there because of special teams, that's where it goes. I think Arrington makes his football team this year.
I think, and because you're not quite sure how Meacham's going to come back, and maybe for injury purposes you keep him out there. But he wears number 87, so he can't play special teams, right? How often do you see a guy with number 87 playing
Joe
special
Horn
teams?
never would have played
Never
special
would
teams
have.
with 87 on.
Another position battle that's coming kind of into focus now, especially after last night, that running back position, P.J. Hill, Chris Ivory. P.J. Hill a little banged up. Chris Ivory, 20 carries. Yeah. Obviously, Sean Payton wanting to see something there last night. Your thoughts? Did anyone stand out? Are they making a point where maybe Liddell Betts has to start wondering if he's even got a spot on this team?
I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the whole Betts situation. This is a guy that's coming in here off of major knee surgery from last year. You know, it's been a good running back, not a star running back, but a good back in his time in the NFL. But where does he fit in with this football team right now? As you said, they're basically bringing him here to just watch him get better and hopefully get him on the field.
He's been in the league 9 years, and he's not.
You know he's going to
bring
bring
right now.
No, Jim Henderson made a good observation the other day when I was asking him about it. He was saying that there's so many teams with banged up running backs right now that you look, you know, Liddell Betts is the only guy out there. Grab him now because you don't know what's going to happen. But it comes down to Chris Ivory and P.J. Hill to me. I don't think Liddell is going to make the team, especially he's practicing, but he's not playing. PJ and Chris are really showing that they can be that short yardage third down back, especially
You think
Chris.
both or just one of those guys?
I think just one.
Which one?
I think Chris Ivory right now.
I think so too. I think Chris Ivory is kind of a mixture between P.J. Hill and Reggie Bush. He's shifty, but he has power. He runs with power, runs with strong pads and everything too.
Well, and when Pierre, though, got dinged on the second play, the guy who came in right after him to spell him was P.J. Hill. I think if he's healthy out of this little injury that he had yesterday, I think he's the guy. I think he's shown more potential than Chris Ivory.
He has more time in the system, though. PJ was here with this team last year for part-time, and so he understands the system a little bit better than Ivory. And I think PJ's a strong running back. I think he's done well in his last couple of years here.
He'll catch on somewhere, I don't think there's any doubt. But what stood out to me last night was Chris. Every time he got the ball, he was pushing and churning, and he was spinning. He was getting PR yards. He was getting the yards after contact.
Yeah. Kind of tiptoed to the line a little bit, I thought. All right, topic for next week, the special teams. That's what we'll be watching as they take on San Diego. It can't get any worse, right? Don't forget, starting this season, it's back again, Bradley Hanwerger.
There's a lot that goes into a world championship season. Let me ask you this. Can you do this again?
Sports Center special. Gruden's Champ Camp is presented by Corona Light.
What's up, brother? How your travels, man? Well, Sean and I have been good friends for a long time.
In 1997, I got hired to be the quarterback coach for the Philadelphia Eagles, and John was the offensive coordinator. That was really the first time I got an opportunity to coach in the NFL.
Sean was a young, up-and-coming guy. I was just getting started as an offensive coordinator, and we pushed each other.
I can recall those early months in Philly. You know, you'd get to the office at 5 o'clock in the morning and he'd been there for an hour. And now you're seeing, you know, how guys like Jon Gruden work at what they're doing. And you're exposed really to a lot of new ideas and thoughts. And so it became invaluable for me, especially as a young coach.
Well, I'd like to thank you guys for letting me come here. And we've been cutting up the Saints, man, for the last 6 weeks. I just want to replay a little bit of what happened this past season. It starts off here, you're playing the Detroit Lions. Drew, you threw, I don't know how many touchdown passes you threw in this game, but how do you pull this off? What are the keys to being good at this?
Well, I think it's really just having confidence, understanding that, hey, there's going to be times where you're going to have to step up with a wide rush, or you might have to slide and move around a guy like right there with the inside move on the left tackle. Or, hey, you know, there's going to be penetration. A guy might get to you, but you just have to find a way to buy a little bit of time and deliver the ball down the field accurately.
Because I wasn't sure if it was some drill that you came up with, Coach Payton, that maybe you could teach me. Because this is Sean Payton right here, Drew, back in Philadelphia when he was in better shape. I thought maybe you were going back to your old school drills. Are you chasing Breeze around like you did in Philly?
Is that Coy Detmer?
I mean, look at the burst I had, Drew.
Yeah.
You know, but
this is back when a lot of people weren't worried about our drills.
When you guys go to Philadelphia now in week 2, you see Ron Jaworski leading the Eagles out here. He's in his Eagles suit right here. One thing I noticed is their defensive backs were wearing masks. Is that because they were worried about getting shredded by you guys? Or have you ever seen a DB wear masks? Why did they do that? Were they just scared of getting gutted?
It's a big fine, I know that.
Because you guys really got after them up there early in this game. But going to Philadelphia, Sean, your old team, early in the year.
You know, it's an interesting place to play, and you and I have coached there as a member of the home team, and it's a passionate fan base. You know, when you take the bus ride in, and Drew will remember this, I said, hey, 7 or 8 eggs are going to hit bus 1 before we ever pull up to the stadium. And then when those eggs fly and they hit bus 1, the players look at you and they think, he's right. And he must be right with the game plan. And sure enough, we stroll off the freeway there, and you look over and you thought you saw maybe a 7 or 8-year-old throwing one of the eggs. You don't know.
Yeah. After the game, you kind of like the Sharper guy. He's got 2 touchdowns in 2 games for you. You seem to like that.
We had a little wager here. Dinner in the city, anywhere he wanted to go if he had a reception or interception for a touchdown. And I thought that was a pretty safe bet for me. And then right in the 4th quarter, you see him running one back. And so he's coming over to remind me he's got pretty good taste.
What's he doing right here? Look at this guy.
Still got a lot of friends in Philly, I guess.
Was that the guy that was yelling at us? Remember he was booing us in '94? Hey, Gruden, if your IQ was 1 point less, you'd be a plant. I appreciate you finding that guy, telling him to go home, man.
This was a game that was an important win for us.
Look at this guy, will you?
You want to beat someone that you feel is pretty good, and to do that early in the season can do a lot for your team. And that win in week 2, I think, after we had beaten Detroit, but that win in week 2 did a lot for our locker room.
You go to Buffalo, and it's a tough place to play. I don't care what anybody says. It's tough to go up there. And then they fake a field goal on you, and they do it to perfection, and you're down on the road. And that's a loud place early in the year. And look at this kicker. Breeze, he's all excited. He looks like you in pregame, man. This guy's jacked up, man. But your defense in this game, I mean, it's a double corner blitz, one play. The next play, Jabari Greer reads the split, jumps a slant, causes a pick, and the defense seemed to really start playing well. And just winning on the road in general, Sean, that's huge early in the season.
Yeah, you know, when you play the way we did defensively in this game, and we didn't score as many points as we wanted to in the first half, and we all felt like defensively we came up with the key stops, especially in the 3rd quarter, that led to some turnovers and gave us field position.
But this game, to me, was a turning point in the season because it almost looked like the running game became not only a viable option, but a real strength of the football team. It's almost like you're standing on the sidelines, you and Cromer saying, hey, you know what? Sean, you called 2 running plays in a row for the first time ever. You know, I've never seen you call 3 runs in a row.
We came up with some big plays. You see Pierre's, obviously, his big run. And it was probably the latter part of the third quarter where we got these big guys going up front and took advantage a little bit of what we were seeing defensively.
You got these quick guys, and they're all unselfish. You got Lance Moore catching it here, Colston there, it's Shockey. How do you pull that off? Doesn't anybody ever get mad that they don't get more balls?
No, I think what our guys understand, and Sean does a great job of this, is in every one of our game plans going into a game, each one of those guys has their opportunities, and they know that at any moment those could get called. And hey, at times they're going to be asked to run a clear-out route to present an opportunity for somebody else, but other times it's going to be their opportunity.
But as you say, like Meacham right here clearing this deep zone out, they got to have a lot of pride and a lot of at stake for the team to do that. A lot of guys know they're not getting the ball here and they take their edge off. But that guy's flying 4-3 right through a double zone, clears it out for Shockey. That's got to make you really feel good as a coach.
The challenge I think each year we have and teams have is it's a very unselfish game if you play it correctly, and yet sometimes we can all, it can all become more complicated than that with contracts, all the other things that go into it. And yet I think when our players hit the field, the biggest thing we talk about is just putting the team first, all of us. And if we can do that, then each week we feel like we have a chance.
Coming up next on Gruden's Champ Camp.
See what goes on in our pregame huddles.
We are New Orleans!
And why I owe a security guard an apology.
That's cold, man. That's like in somebody's face, man.
And it was the greatest game of our lives as we look back on Super Bowl 44.
SportsCenter Special, Gruden's Champ Camp, is presented by Corona Light. It only gets better.
Let me hear you say, who we take, who we take, who we run, who we run, who we take, who we take, who we run, we are New Orleans. Let's go, baby, let's go.
What's going on in these huddles before games? What are you doing here?
Well, it's kind of our little secret. But, you know, it started a few years back where I just felt like we needed something different, something unique. And, you know, obviously it gets guys hyped up, and that was just something special we had as a team. Certainly it got us ready to play.
I'm still wondering what they're doing. He asked me to talk to the team at the end of the spring, and he gave him the chant, and I listened to it, and then he gave it to him again, and I said, Drew, you think everyone can get that? He said, we'll have it. And I still don't have it, so I kind of go over there by the strength coach and just watch from a distance. I haven't gotten it down yet.
It's every week. I mean, it's every week. And it's from the hip, man. These guys are fired up. They're jacked up.
This was actually inspired by the Marines at Guantanamo Bay. Last year I went on a USO trip there, and I learned a chant from them. One morning they invited me to get up and do PT with them. And, you know, they do the chants as they run and as they do all their stuff. And so I stole it and told them I was, and they encouraged me to, and I took it back to the team, and obviously they loved it.
The dreaded New York Giants come in here undefeated. And, you know, I've showed you, Drew, with your guys before the game, getting them jacked up. I look over here and I see this big dude, Brandon Jacobs. How do you get a team ready to play against a guy of this size, Sean?
Well, I think number one is you want to really be mindful of the room you give him to start. And when you watch this guy's big runs, and he's had a lot of them in his career, he's had some room to work with in the beginning. So you want to avoid, you know, him getting out or in space where he's got a head of steam. And if we can keep him kind of running like he's running here east and west as opposed to north and south, you got a chance at it.
You guys knocked them out of the game, and this was one of the more physical football games I remember seeing the Saints play. But right about now, the crowd starts really getting the fever, and the Saints are for real, yes?
Yeah, I think, you know, we'd come into this game, I think, off a bye, and now all of a sudden, there's probably a series of 3 or 4 of these tests. It was a chance for us to really get an update as to where we were.
Ricky Williams with a gigantic hole as the Dolphins are in the end zone. This is a stunner for folks around the NFL.
Miami game. You guys really look, I don't know, you guys look like you weren't the Saints there for a while, you know, Sean? I see Don Shula, he's laughing, he's loving it. You guys are getting beat. You're going to fall from the ranks of the unbeaten. And it came down to you and Breeze on the sideline right before the half, and you're going to kick a field goal, I think.
During this timeout, Drew's he's doing a very good job of convincing me why we need to go for a touchdown here. And more than just why we need to, he's got a plan or a play that he likes, and it makes sense, all the sense in the world. We're basically going to try a quarterback sneak. He's going to get a little lift and put the ball out. We were inches, and so you see him do that very quickly. And the thing that happens that concerns you with these plays is what you get concerned with is the side or the officials that are in position to see that. Can they get it real quick? And so once we set that play in, I remember running down here, and you get screamed at when you do this, but running down here to grab the official down here and just explaining to him, Drew's going to jump up and punch this ball over and tuck it back in. And Drew does a great job. We get the penetration we want inside, and then you'll see him get up and then quickly tuck it back in and protect it.
You're lucky you didn't get your chin knocked out right there, too,
well,
man.
That's why you tuck into a ball after that and go cannonball on it.
My point is, you get this touchdown, and that's a hell of a spike, Drew. That trajectory off the screen, you must be working on that too, man.
That's some good airtime. Yeah, that was kind of a statement just to say, we're going to be here a lot in the second half in that end zone.
We get the lead, and we're going to ice this football game, and it comes down, it's not a quarterback sneak, it's like a sucker play here. What about this one here at the end? What was this?
It is a sucker play. I'd credit Mike Martz. I think we stole it from him. See, I thought Drew jumped off of Jari's back when he did this.
Well, that's the reason I want to get to this, Drew. I mean, you're up there, man. How tall are you?
6 foot even.
Sean, that's pretty. You're a hell of a tennis player. Not a lot of people back home know that. Who's that guy you beat again, or claimed to beat?
Andy Roddick.
You beat him.
That was a long time ago.
He's dunking a ball.
Beat Andy Roddick. He's dunking the ball. So but I want you to see this. Here's what you see it. You guys just come down and visit me. Watch this guy get up. Now, my friend is at the game watching the game. He's a security guy. Watch the ball hit this guy in the head. Boom. Did you see that on the tape, Drew?
No, I didn't. Yeah, that was obviously that was a touchdown that gave us the lead. And at that
That's
point,
cold, man. That's like in somebody's face, man. Are you aware of that? Be careful, man. See what you're doing next year. What do you guys think of Monday Night Football? You guys, give me some on that.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good first year.
I have a thing I believe called the Jokers. And they're players, they're football players, offensive guys that are good in any hand. You got a guy like Shockey that can line up over there as a wide receiver and make these back shoulder catches. A guy that can handle the audible game and can run a slant route. I mean, that's a tight end at 260 pounds against the linebacker. And then I see him in there as a tight end. He's pass protecting, Drew. And then I look over here, and you got Reggie Bush out here, and you throw him a back shoulder fade. That's a running back making that kind of catch. Boy, you guys tick me off with all these jokers.
You get those guys in space in one-on-one matchups, and they become a big-time matchup advantage for us. And it's something that teams have to worry about where those guys are going to be, especially when you start detaching them from the formation.
I mean, look at these guys, Sean. They're like, hey, I don't got that joker. You got that joker.
I know this. A smart coach once told me if I take one of these jokers and put him outside a receiver, I'm going to give the quarterback some information, man or zone. And I think when you put Shockey outside of an X, or you take Reggie Bush in your base offense and put him outside of a Z, then he's going to get some information right away. And if the big guys go out with him, it's probably man-to-man. And if the cornerbacks bump, it's probably zone. And to have just that man or zone principle down before a play ever starts is a tremendous advantage.
Breeze loads for a shot downfield for Meacham. Touchdown.
Coming up next,
I'm going one-on-one with Drew Brees.
Was going undefeated the big goal at that time of the season?
it was a big deal. I mean, how many opportunities do you have to go undefeated?
Later on Gruden's Champ Camp. Let's go bunch right, 24 Z drive H burst. This is where we lay the foundation, period.
During the
Welcome back to a Sports Center special, Gruden's Champ Camp, presented by Corona Light.
electricity and anticipation filled the Superdome. One of the games of the year. Tom Brady and the Patriots visiting Drew Brees and the undefeated Saints on Monday Night Football.
Drew, the Saints are undefeated. You're getting ready to play the New England Patriots.
Tom Brady, Drew Brees. First play of the game, you got Devery Henderson out on your left. You got Lee Bodden over there in bump and run coverage. Is that an audible, or was that the game plan, or you have the freedom to just say, hey, I like this matchup and I'm going to air it out, or what?
The plan was we're going to come out and we're throwing, you know, go routes outside, first play of the game. If it's not there, we'll check it down, but you know what? Aggressive. You know, and that was the mentality we wanted to come in with right off the bat, show them that, you know, it's going to be a long day.
Brees pumping, throwing, caught for another touchdown.
5 touchdown passes. I mean, the screen game, the double screen, wide check middle. Who calls that play? I haven't seen that play since 1980.
Yeah, we've run that play twice in my 4 years here, so it doesn't come out that often, but it comes out when we feel like it can be a big play, and obviously it was.
The Saints are 13-0. You got the Dallas Cowboys coming to New Orleans. You don't know if Ware's going to play. Probably not going to play. The guy's got a serious injury. Did that impact your preparation at all?
Yeah, in hindsight, we did a poor job of preparing for the thought that DeMarcus Ware might play. I mean, we felt like it was a 99% chance that he was not playing. And I remember seeing him, and he's dressed like he's ready to go. And I thought to myself, oh boy, sure enough, you know, every nickel pass rush situation he's in, and he ends up changing the game.
Brees in trouble, hit from behind, drops the football, Cowboys cover it up, and that is it. That's the end of the Saints' winning streak.
Was that crushing? Was going undefeated the big goal at that time of the season?
Well, you know, it wasn't everything, but it was a big deal. I mean, how many opportunities do you have to go undefeated? It was unfortunate, and they outplayed us, and we got beat.
This is 13-1. My ex-team, the Buccaneers, come the next week. And special teams, things go wrong. We lose a tight game. And then you go to Carolina. I looked over there in the sidelines, and you're sitting there, huddled up, cold with a jacket on. You're not playing. But you lose 3 straight games after this 13-0 start. And you've got a bye week to think about not winning a football game for a month as you enter the playoffs. Where are you at? You got to be losing your mind at this point.
Well, I think a lesser team, or a team with maybe not as much leadership or character, might have been afraid of that, or scared, or worried. But I felt like we had a plan. We have a plan in place as to our preparation and where we need to be when that team comes to town, end up being the Arizona Cardinals in the divisional playoff round.
Coaches talk to their teams all the time. You're the coach. You're like Mick, Sean. You're talking to your fighter. What are you saying to your fighter before the playoff week? I mean, what are we getting our team ready to do? We've lost 3 straight games. Was there anything that you said to bring the guys back?
I think this. I think at that point, after the 3 losses and then the week bye, everyone understands it's playoff football. Really, you know, it was going to be our first opportunity to play with this team in the postseason.
But as you're like Drew Brees standing here in his suit, and Drew, here comes the Arizona Cardinals. There they are, the defending champ. They're calling you out. They're coming to New Orleans. It's Kurt Warner. I mean, this guy is a Hall of Famer, if you ask me. This guy's coming, the defending NFC champion, walking into the Superdome for the NFC playoffs. What's going on here in your mind as you get ready to battle a guy like Kurt Warner in this stage?
Well, certainly I have a lot of respect for Kurt, going to the Super Bowl last year, and the game that he had prior to this, throwing 5 touchdowns, playing a near-perfect game against Green Bay. But the challenge was to eliminate the distractions and to ignore all the critics that are asking which team's going to show up. The 13-0 Saints are the team that finished 0-3, and to really focus on the process.
You do some really unique things. I mean, bringing Deuce McAllister back to bring you out of the tunnel. Then you got Reggie Bush carrying his baseball bat. What's the symbol of the bat and just the idea of bringing Deuce McAllister back, Sean?
We signed Deuce that morning, and Mickey Loomis came into my office and said, hey, we're going to have him run out. Why don't we sign him to the roster? In the team meeting, I'll read through the transcripts and just kind of go through the course of business. And I said, you know, today we put Rodney Leslie on injured reserve, and we signed running back Deuce McAllister to the active roster. Players were excited. I said, the bad news, Deuce, is we got to fine you $5,000. You're overweight 20 pounds. He didn't like that.
What's this baseball bat symbolize, Drew? What's this all about?
If you could see what's written right below Saints vs. Cardinals, it says bring the wood. And that's a little tradition that we started a few years ago. And really it was the mentality that we have to win a fight before we win the game, so to speak. In other words, we have to be the most, if there's one thing we do when we leave the field today, it's to say that we were the most physical team without a doubt.
This coming out of the huddle was planned, but the bat with Reggie, that was a little off the script.
Yeah, it's really supposed to be something that's kept in the locker room.
First play of the game, Sean, I mean, Tim Hightower goes on a 75-yard run, basically untouched.
Yeah, this you know, obviously, you know, when something like that happens, the biggest thing that goes through your mind right at this moment is, man, are we going to lose our home field crowd? Because that is, that's something that's like a punch in the gut for everyone. You know, fortunately, we bounced back here and began to get the hits we needed. And when you get these turnovers and these type of plays, I mean, the chances of you winning the game go way up. And, you know, here's a physical shot by Bobby McCray on Kurt.
It's almost like you just said, hey, you know what, we're going to knock these guys out. It had to feel really, as a football team, to put all three phases after losing those last 3 games and being idle for a week. There was some hitting going on in this game now.
It was a bring the wood game, so certainly we knew what was at stake, and we knew we were going to need our best game, and I felt like we brought it that day.
This Greg Williams, he's a piece of work, this guy, isn't he? Has he got enough blitzes in his game plan for you, or what? Do you guys have any base defense where you just rush 4, or is it always a blitz?
We're trying to figure out what the base is.
Reggie Bush, Sean.
You know, this is the first time really in 3.5 years that he's healthy going into the postseason. And then he has this opportunity here and in a big game to come up big for his team. And so the big return here certainly is a key play for us in this game. He's got an earlier run that he scores on right here. This is as good a run as he's made in a while.
And then the flea flicker. Who calls a flea flicker in a playoff game, Drew?
Well, who calls an onside kick in the Super Bowl?
I mean, what's the aggressive play calling? I mean, you didn't get that from certainly me, because I would never have been able to call these plays.
Well, one of the things that you see him do a great job of with our receivers is if we can get the receivers on the safeties, even if they're at their right depth, you know, we think it's an advantage. And this is executed, you know, really at the right time by these guys. He's going to make sure, Drew's going to make sure that we get out of this play if we don't get the right look. And he does a lot of that. So it really becomes somewhat of a conservative play call when you really look at it. It's only versus this, this, and this, and it's going to be complete or incomplete.
What's it like for you to have a guy that can see something, change a play, everybody gets the audible, everybody knows who to block, and then you got a surgeon that just slices people up? Does that make you feel good at night when you go to bed, Sean?
I sleep easier.
Coming up next, an inside look at the NFC Championship game.
What are you saying here?
Just how much respect I have for him.
Later on Gruden's Champ Camp.
They tell me you slept with the Lombardi Trophy for a week, man. Did you?
I passed out next to it. I didn't sleep with it.
Sports Center Special. Gruden's Champ Camp is presented by Corona Light. It only gets better.
Don't you think the football gods wanted to see Drew Brees against Kurt Warner, and then they wanted to see you have to beat Brett Favre to go to the Super Bowl? So what? I mean, are you nervous? Are you excited? Is this what's going on in there?
When you're going into a game where you know that you have an elite player at the quarterback position on the other side, the challenge is to, as much as you can, not feel like you're competing against them. But at the end of the day, you certainly want to be able to walk away and say, you know, hey, I outplayed the guy, or whatever it might be. I mean, I think the competitiveness in you can't not have that feeling a little bit.
I remember you and I studying Brett Favre's scrambles.
That was my first project he gave me. My first day in the office Monday, I came in, and you asked me to cut up every one of his scrambles.
I mean, 2010, you're playing this guy, you kidding me, to go to the Super Bowl? What's going on in your mind right now, Sean? You can't wait to compete against him, can you?
Well, you know, number one, you just have respect for someone that you know is a Hall of Fame player, and at his age, to really have the season he had. You know, I told him I really didn't want to hug him. I had the flu, and he told me to go find Brad Childress. He said, go give it to Chili.
And early in the game, Sean, Peterson again strikes first, and you're down on, you know, 7-0, much like you were the week before against Arizona.
You know, the one thing a season that we had can provide you, and
and a number of times we fell behind. And you gain a confidence when you're able to come back and win one of those games. And so when it does come up in the postseason, week 1, week 2 in the postseason, you're not out of a comfort zone. You're very comfortable with, and you understand the task at hand still.
The key was you answered right away, Drew. And your screen game was phenomenal this year. But just talk about answering a score with a score.
Yeah, and the fact that the Minnesota defense had not given up an opening drive touchdown the entire season. To be able to answer and respond and basically say, hey, you know, we can score some points too, you know, that sends a message, and that's what we were able to do on that first drive.
Talk to me about this play, Drew. This was huge.
Yeah, well, you know, this is a critical third down. You know, we're trying to tie the game in the fourth quarter, and they end up dropping a defensive tackle. So 3-man rush, drop 8, you know, that's a lot of bodies in the end zone. So tight windows to throw the football. You know, I know that I have time, end up having to scramble because they've got everybody covered. Reggie is able to leak out to the flat, get open, and then makes a great play.
Well, they have statistics for everything. Now that I'm an analyst, I get all the stats. And Jaworski's a big stat guy. But your statistics with the red flag are not good.
Awful.
I mean, not good.
Awful.
So now I see you coming down. You got that red flag. And your percentage of winning on these red flags
says my kids do this when I take the red flag.
Oh.
Connor and Megan.
But you know you got something. Now, is someone telling you to challenge it, or are you just saying, man, I got it? I got my, I'm 1 for 10, 1 for 14, but I'm going to throw it anyway. What's going through your mind right here?
I'm listening more upstairs, but I think the one thing that happens in these games in the postseason is you get 10 more camera angles, 15 more camera shots than you do for a regular season game. Fortunately for us, there were enough of those angles, and one of them had come up upstairs where clearly he had gotten in and scored. You know, I always feel like I'm confident throwing that thing, and
you didn't throw this. You ran all the way down and gently laid it down there.
But I'm listening still.
You trying to do superstition there? Look at you.
I think that the feedback's good.
The receiver broke the plane of the goal line. First team to score wins. In essence, it's a brand new game. Tails, you won the toss. You want to receive.
Okay, so we get the ball back, and we have got to take the ball down the field, and we got to get something here. But this 4th and 1 play, what's the call? What'd you call?
Well, I think it was slant 33 blast. I know this. We spent some time on the sidelines because there was a clock stoppage before, and I remember looking at Drew and Pierre and everyone, and we had enough time to look at each other and say, I think we all knew we were going to go for it.
But they came out in a 6-2 goal line, didn't they, Sean?
Yeah. You know, the one thing that happens in this play that a lot of people don't see is the contact that gets made here really forces the ball to kind of come out of Pierre's initial grasp, but he's able to regain control of it and really just get the yard, but it's close.
And it sets up play action. What'd you think of this call, Drew? PI?
Yeah, he doesn't have his head around.
If I was coaching, they wouldn't have called that. I wouldn't have got that call. We get the big play in here to Meacham. And we're going to bring out our young kicker. Remember, about 4 weeks ago, he missed a kick to lose the game. He had a chance to ice somebody, right?
Yeah, right about the same spot against Tampa.
And then, what are you thinking here? I mean, you two guys. You got to. It's going to come down all this work to a young guy that we rarely got to see kick during the regular season. I mean, are you a basket case or what?
I feel like had Garrett Hartley not gone through what he went through in that Tampa game at the end of the season where he missed that kick, then he would not have been able to step out there and make this one. I think sometimes you have to go through those times where, you know, it doesn't work out, maybe you fail. It gives you a little bit of a mental toughness edge that he now had for this kick.
I know this, we're feeling a lot better now than we were about 2 minutes ago when they had the ball on our 32-yard line.
Yeah, I bet you do. But it all comes down, I mean, we have you guys during Monday Night Football during the season. This kid's not even active. He's not even kicking. John Carney's your kicker.
Yeah.
And now you got a chance to go to the Super Bowl, and darn if he doesn't put you in the Super Bowl, Hartley. And you got to go see Brett Favre, and the place is going crazy. And it's a team game, isn't it, Drew? Football.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everybody contributes. You know, look at the guy who was holding that kick and then the 3 40-plus yarders in the Super Bowl. It was Mark Brunell.
What are you saying here?
Just how much respect I have for him. He's such a competitor. Certainly he's a legend of the game and a guy that you know, is going to go down as one of the best ever.
This is Reggie Bush coming up next on Gruden's Champ Camp.
Do you feel like, you know what, I got to beat this guy to get my respect?
Honestly, absolutely.
Later, I'm going to take you to the house on Gruden's Champ Camp.
Seeds of the AFC and the NFC meeting for the first time in 17 years. It is New Orleans' favorite son against New Orleans' favorite team. This is a wonderful day to be a Saints fan and a New Orleanian.
You guys are going to the Super Bowl. You go up against this guy right here. This has got to be one of the thrilling times of your life to go up against not only Peyton Manning, you got to go up against Archie Manning, Eli Manning, all these Mannings. Right?
Right.
I mean, they're from New Orleans. Heck, they basically own New Orleans, don't they?
Right.
Do you feel like, you know what, I got to beat this guy to get, I got to get what I deserve, my respect? Was there any of that?
Honestly, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you always have to have the mentality that you are, you have to prove yourself every time you step on the field. Winning a Super Bowl is the essence of our sport. It's why we play the game, and it's also, at the end of the day, the way that you're evaluated as a head coach and as a quarterback. But I knew for me and for my team, we had to win that game.
Last word, Sean, you and Drew before the game.
You know, there's always the look you get from a player, and you know what? It's one of the things that I love seeing with him because it's consistent. It's you know, it's right in your eye, and you know, he's prepared all his life for this moment.
When I got into Super Bowls a long time ago, every play that made the game plan, I agonized over it. Oh, God, that's a good one. That's not good enough. I got to have a little better formation. You know, I agonized over it. Did you agonize over what made the game plan for the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I think that, yes, to answer your question, yes. That final night for each situation when you say, all right, print the list, it's done. You're always, I guess, feeling that you're leaving something out, maybe something that you need, and so you're looking all week, and once it was laminated, that was Parcells' thing. Once he laminated it, you couldn't change it. So once we laminated a play, it was in, but I think it's that thirst for just having the perfect plan, and I don't know that it ever exists, really. It just sits out there.
Manning strikes first. You had some injuries in the secondary. Some guys came out or something, didn't they, Sean?
Two things happened. Randall Gay was fighting the flu and was in and out of the game. And then Jabari was out for a period of a few plays, and this happened in the first quarter. Osama has been playing safety for us, had to get snaps at the corner position, then went back into the safety position. So, you know, our guys were able to fight through that.
Big field goal right before the half. Huge momentum change. Talk about that.
The significance of it really was we had just had an opportunity to score, and we went for it down on the 1-yard line, and we weren't able to score. Defensively, we held them to a 3-and-out, and we were able to get the ball back with some time on the clock and really give ourselves a chance to come away with the field goal.
Coming up next, how an onside kick changed the Super Bowl.
I just want to know when the brainstorm happened that you decide I'm going to do an onside kick to start the second half in the Super Bowl.
You are watching a Sports Center special, Gruden's Champ Camp, presented by Corona Light.
The thing about Sean Payton, Drew, is while you were playing at Purdue or back in high school ball back in Texas, you don't have a yodel, do you? Like my man Colt McCoy?
Yeah.
While you were back probably at Purdue right about here. Sean Payton was the offensive coordinator of the Giants. And the one thing about Sean is he's always had a play for every situation. I remember you're going to lose to Philadelphia. The game is over, but you got one more play. Remember this, Sean?
Yeah, 76 Lambeth special.
He checks the ball down to Tiki Barber Okay, and I've never seen this. Tiki Barber takes the ball as far as he can. He lures the defense to him, and then he laterals it, and they have a convoy of blockers waiting for this receiver. And this scared the living hell out of Philadelphia because it went all the way down to about the 6-yard line. But Sean has always had a play for every situation. Now, I know you have a play in your mind of an onside kick for the Super Bowl. I just want to know when the brainstorm happened that you decide I'm going to do an onside kick to start the second half in the Super Bowl.
I really think 2 weeks prior, McMahon and Mallory, our 2 special teams coaches, we wanted to run a fake punt, and they kept insisting to me that the look wasn't right for a fake punt. But they came to me with this idea of an onside kick, and all week Thomas Morstead here in New Orleans during the bye did a good job with it, and then the week leading up to it, it looked real good. And so the night before the game, I think it was important for our players to know, hey, we're gonna try this at some point. And we just didn't know when it was going to happen. So somewhere after Teenage Wasteland, when the Who was playing, I think is when we decided that this was the time. And to their credit, they executed it just right.
A lot of guts to call that. That might have been the gutsiest call ever.
And I've said this, and I think Drew would know this, if we knew it was going to be a 10-minute scrum, we'd have never called that. We expected it to be a clean fall on it, our ball.
You get this screen, and you get the lead, and the clock continues to tick, and every call now becomes critical. And a die comes back and makes an unbelievable move in the hole to score. And it's a heavyweight fight. You're playing for the World Championship. You're in Miami, Florida, and it's Drew Brees, then it's Peyton Manning. But you guys get the ball down here, Drew. And I don't know if this is a running play. You just picked it up and fired it out there to Shockey. But this was huge. What was this play?
That's a pass. It's a design pass play, but it's, you know, you put Shockey out there, big body. You know, really, he's, you know, it's zone coverage where he's almost getting bracketed, but, you know, we like the leverage. You know, corners outside leverage, so there's that lane to just fit one into the big man and then let him run somebody over. You know the safety's going to be getting over there quickly, but that's just one where you feel like you get the ball in that guy's hands and he will not be denied. He's going to get in the end zone for you.
When you throw this ball, do you have the laces?
Sometimes you don't. I'm not sure if I did on this one in particular, but you know, you're trying to get the ball out of your hands so fast and just put it in their chest so that they can catch it, protect it, because you know they know they're going to get hit, but it's worth the touchdown. I can tell you that.
Sean, we're going for 2, right?
Yeah, you know, we're far enough into this game where, you know, normally it wouldn't be till the fourth quarter we'd pay attention to the chart, and we're into the fourth quarter here. I think when you're watching it from the field, I think all of us thought, man, he probably didn't have it long enough. It probably wasn't complete. And like you alluded to earlier, I'm starting to pay attention more to the guys upstairs rather than my instincts. And I'm waiting, and Curtis Johnson comes over and says, hey, they've got it.
I'm just saying, throw it. Yeah, we got it.
Now you're trying to explain to him what you're challenging.
He's crossed the goal line, and then it's kicked out.
When you look back on the replay, the rule is you have to have possession, right? Throughout the entire act. And I guess he's got possession,
right there.
But you see the corner Lacey kicks it out of his hands.
But that was the key. After you saw his shoulders go to the ground and stabilize the ball.
But for Sean Payton to win 2 challenges down the stretch is not good for the rest of the NFL. And if you're going to win challenges, you're a real problem. And now it's back to Manning and Tracy Porter, Drew. I mean, this guy, second-year player, has had some injuries, but when he's healthy, this is a shut-down gamer. Talk about Tracy Porter and what happens on this play.
Well, you know, he obviously was the one who intercepted Brett Favre at the end of that Minnesota game to send it in OT. Came up with, you know, 2 huge plays. But you know what this is right here? This is film study. This is practice. You know, just looking at tendencies. And he just did a great job of anticipating that inside break by Reggie Wayne and made the jump, got the pick, and he's got the speed and athletic ability to take it to the house, and that's what you want at the DB position. Good ball skills and the ability to do something with it after that.
I mean, Sean, you got to be feeling pretty good right now. You got an onside kick. You got the lead, and really, you're going to win the Super Bowl. You got to be feeling pretty good. Like you might be going to Disney World or something right here.
Well, I think it's in the fourth quarter, and we're going to come back on the field here with about 3 minutes. But you do finally get a breath because you go up 14.
Because now, even Mr. Meacham's up there fired up. I mean, he don't care. But you guys are feeling it. You guys are on the way. The first Super Bowl in the history of the New Orleans Saints. And when you went to this three-man rush and you stymied them and you shut them down here at the end, then you can start to celebrate. And the Saint fans, do you have any idea what it must have been like on Bourbon Street right after that play? I was on Bourbon Street last night and they're still celebrating. I mean...
I think all of our players, everyone, certainly has gained an appreciation for what it meant for the fans here. You know, because what happens at this point, we're going to take a knee, and it wasn't really until they didn't use a timeout that it really dawns on you, and then you realize the significance of it, and it never really slows down after that. It's like nothing else, and you know, I think when the game it finally ended and we got on the bus to go back to the hotel, that half-hour bus ride where we just sat and talked and reflected, and you knew that it was going to be the last time as a team you were together. I mean, look at that. That says it all right there.
Is that good stuff?
That's what it's all
Somebody
about.
asked me the other day, they said, when are you going to come back and coach? They say, hey, Gruden, you going to come back and coach? I said, yeah, when this breeze gets to be about 13 or 14, I'll be out there.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do.
How good is that for you here?
That's the best. That's what it's all about. You know, I dreamed about that moment, obviously, for a long time, and to have my son be a part of that was very, very special.
It's an incredible thing, and you get the Lombardi. They tell me you slept with the Lombardi Trophy for a week, man. Did you?
I passed out next to it. I didn't sleep with it.
It's phenomenal.
Our group's had a lot of fun with it. You know, the people in this city, and recently we're down to that area that's been affected by the oil, and you know, it just represents maybe all that's good about what we do in our sport. You know, winning a Super Bowl, and you know, about a month and a half later, I was coming back from a vacation, and our flight went over this stadium, and I text Drew. I said, hey, I'm just flying over. I don't know what the name of the stadium is anymore, Landshark, Joe Robbie, whatever, but I'm flying over it, and you know, you'll always remember that stadium for that game, for that night, for that moment.
2009 is over. We're going to take you into this year's Saints team.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. You guys are going to have to make a play in special teams this preseason just to have a chance.
Coming up next on Gruden's Champ Camp.
Here we go, on the hop, on the hop, on the hop.
Well, Sean's one of the most creative practice guys in football. He's going to get a lot of reps and strategic reps.
Let's go bunch right, 24 Z drive, H burst. X sluggo stop, Z seam. Good. Hey, if you can, stay on the ground now. If you can, stay on the ground. You jump in the air, everything's frozen, right?
This tight end they drafted out of Miami, number 80. This Graham kid is a very interesting guy. Played basketball for the Hurricanes, 1 year of football. About 6'7", 270 pounds. He runs like a deer.
Hey, get him out of the huddle. Just kind of breaking out, you know, walking up. Let's get after him a little bit. Fox right, F motion. Get a good break. I'm going to bring you back if we don't get out of the huddle the right way. Goody. Let's get him out of the huddle now. Got him meandering out of the huddle, Carl. You're one of the worst offenders. Back in the huddle. Back in the huddle. Let's go, man. Let's go.
Let's go.
I hate the way it sounds. Let's go.
Come on, work that way.
He's a situational football coach. You'll see short yardage, goal line. They practice the last play of the game where the quarterback takes a knee.
Good. 12 yards deep. Best play of the game. You know that? The only thing better is when they don't use their last timeout. They say no mas. Pretty good tempo. First time carrying our pads. Not bad. I said last night in the meeting, though, you know, it's not the bring the wood bats or the guest speakers or the T-shirts. That gets written about. This is where we lay the foundation, period. Period.
Let me ask you this. Can you do this again? Can you do it again?
Absolutely.
I mean, we won the Super Bowl. We didn't make the playoffs the following year. Pittsburgh Steelers, they win. They don't make the playoffs last year. How do you do it?
I think the first thing you have to do is just recognize those that came before you and just how difficult it is to make it back to that game and have an opportunity to win it again. And, you know, learn from others' mistakes. And we need to get better in order to do this again. We can't just, you know, be what we were last year. You know what? Last year was special. It will always be with us. That team is linked together forever. But the fact of the matter is, you know, we're not done here. And we have a window of opportunity. And I feel like we've got the right pieces in place. We have the right people in this building to do this again, but it's not going to be easy.
Those headsets are adjustable.
Are they?
They can get a little bigger for next year.
...2009 Super Bowl champions.
Katrina struck just as the New Orleans Saints were opening their regular season in 2005.
The storm destroyed the Superdome, forced the Saints to give up their training facility to the National Guard and relocate to San Antonio. They played some games there and some in Baton Rouge. Team owner Tom Benson, who also owns Fox 8, says it was an uncertain time, but the team always intended to return to New Orleans.
We had one unbelievable time in moving the franchise all the way to Texas to be able to operate for a year. I mean, we were operating in a basement. Our people, it was just, and nobody knows what we went through. But it wasn't just us. A lot of other people right here were doing the same thing, you know, and our whole purpose, and as soon as possible, was February, and when we said right out here, hey, we back in New Orleans. We're going to be playing there with the state, getting the Superdome fixed as best as we could in that time. We did it.
And Benson says the renovations on the Dome have given the Saints one of the best stadiums in the country. And I agree.
Been a fun time. I still get it.
This special edition of 4th Down on 4, Eye on the Saints, is sponsored by Cox and First American Bank. From WWL-TV Channel 4, this is a special edition of 4th Down on 4, Eye on the Saints.
Meaningless games only exist if you let them. Tonight in the Superdome is a chance to make a roster, a chance to solidify a role, a chance to send out a message to the rest of the NFL. Welcome live inside the Superdome, tonight's third preseason game against the Chargers. An opportunity, not just for those fighting for their NFL lives, but also for the Saints starters to put a nice little bow on all of their offseason work. But perhaps most important, an opportunity for the Saints special teams to finally get it right.
Patriots will have great field position as Edelman sets sail down the sideline.
The Saints coverage units this preseason have done their best imitation of a sieve, allowing opponents to progress the football almost at will, killing the momentum of a touchdown or extending the disappointment of a rare failed third down conversion. During last year's Super Bowl run, the Saints ranked near the bottom of the league in both punt and kick return coverage. That glaring area of concern has become radioactive through 2 exhibition games this season. Despite endless special teams work, the returns continue to add up. In a surprise move, the Saints released special teams captain Troy Evans this week. And while Sean Payton insists Evans' departure was independent of the special teams woes, others can't help but see the move as a warning shot across the bow of the team's coverage units.
Does it send a message? It does send a message. It sends a message that, hey, everybody has to go out and prove himself every day. Not saying that he didn't prove himself, but it gives an alert to the rest of the guys here that when you step on the field, you have a job to do, and the only way to do the job is the best of your ability.
But while obviously concerned, Sean Payton categorizes the gaudy return numbers put up by the Saints' opponents this preseason as misleading. He points to a revolving door of players being used on the coverage units as a main source of inconsistent play. But Prelo's not letting his teammates off that easy.
It is true that we have a different group of guys, different combination of guys going out there and cover, but it really doesn't matter. Whatever guy puts on the fleur-de-lis on their helmet and steps on as a special team player for this team has a responsibility to go out and do a job. I take that responsibility seriously, and I expect the other guys to do the same, and we all have to go out as a unit and make plays. So it doesn't matter what combination we have on the field. We got to go out and we got to get the ball carried down.
Scope this evening, Patrick Ramsey, the battle for that backup quarterback position, getting a little more interesting last week when Chase Daniel played 3 quarters, leading the Saints to 24 points. Tonight, Ramsey will get extended time, perhaps even some snaps with that first unit. A look at how Ramsey and Daniel compared this preseason. Ramsey's best number, perhaps no number at all, 0 interceptions in his lone appearance. Drew Brees and the starters will get their most extended playing time of the preseason, as is usually the case for that 3rd preseason game. But imagine if the preseason were cut in half and tonight were actually the season opener. It's a concept that's one step closer to becoming reality. Here's Jim Henderson.
You can't give the fans in these parts too much football, especially Saints football, especially Saints as defending Super Bowl champions football. But how much is too much for the coaches? How much is too much for the starting players? How little is not enough for the unproven young players seeking roster spots and professional careers? The league recently made a presentation to the Players Association proposing an 18-game regular season schedule while shrinking the preseason schedule from 4 games to 2. Certainly fans would be in favor of that if season ticket prices were to remain the same, especially. The fans, the owners, the commissioner, the coaches, the veteran players, the young players all come at the issue from different vantage points. Only one thing is certain: there is no unanimity on the subject.
That's been thrown out as something that the owners want in the upcoming negotiations now. There's a lot of things that would have to happen in order for that to happen.
Assuming for the sake of argument that an increase in the regular season by 1/8 would increase a player's salary by 1/8, is it worth it?
As a player, you think about player safety, benefits. You're talking about, right now you have to get at least 3 years in. Well, that's an extra 6 games, and I think you can ask anybody on this team who was 100% at the end of the year, and I don't know who could raise their hand.
2 seasons ago, Saints backup quarterback Mark Brunell saw so little action he was never called upon to throw a single pass. 2 more games for 1/8 more salary would be welcomed by those who seldom play or play positions with little risk of contact. But the rest of the roster bears the brunt of the beatings.
How is this going to affect our medical? How is this going to affect our longevity, our careers? So there's a lot of things to take into account. It's not just as simple as, hey, we're going to add 2 games and pay you more, 2 more paychecks. It takes a big toll on the body.
Could that toll be lessened by increasing the roster, enabling more reserves to play while giving more starters time on the bench to recuperate? You probably wouldn't take that risk as a coach by sitting down a member of the offensive line whose continuity means so much, and lack of such exposes your quarterback to injury.
You can't just add roster spots. I mean, you look at offensive linemen, I think that would only do harm to us. You're not going to roll offensive linemen in. You might rotate a defensive end in, which only makes my job harder.
Would decreasing preseason exposure from 4 games to 2 detrimentally affect the young player trying to make a roster and the ability of a coaching staff to accurately assess his qualifications? For the first time under Sean Payton, the Saints practiced in preseason against 2 teams, in the Patriots and the Texans this summer. Could this sort of work alleviate the need for those 2 exhibitions?
I don't know if it would take the place. I think you'd see more of it in that event, though, if you were down to just 2.
Perhaps 2 bye weeks could be built into an 18-game schedule. But how much would that help? The group that will have the least amount of input concerning the proposal would probably be the assistant coaching ranks.
Right. No different than married life, man. I mean, you show up,
you listen to your last direct order and you go to work. I mean, that's all I know.
The owners have not yet officially approved the measure that was first broached 2 years ago. The earliest an 18-game schedule would be instituted is 2 years from now. For some, it's an idea whose time has come. For others, it's an idea whose time should never come. It won't come soon. It won't come easily, if it ever comes at all. At the end of last season, the Saints had 16 players on injured reserve. Would future Super Bowls reward the best teams in the NFL or the healthiest at year's end with an 18-game regular schedule?
What other detrimental effects of an 18-game schedule do you see as far as it affects the actual team? Not the fans, but the teams.
Well, I think as much as the teams, it's the reputation of the NFL as a whole. I think the great thing about the NFL is you only get 16 chances in the regular season, which makes every game so meaningful. I think most fans would agree the baseball season is too long, the NBA season is certainly too long, the hockey season is too long. Does 18 games water down what is now a most compelling game in the NFL? So I think that's a consideration as well.
You talked about a healthy team versus a good team. Not staying healthy on the back end of that running back rotation is something the Saints have had a problem with this training camp. Tonight, Deshaun Wynn, Liddell Betts, most likely going to get some snaps. What are you looking forward to most seeing there?
I think either one of them has to be pretty impressive to beat out Chris Ivory. That's the way I feel about it right now. Now, if Liddell Betts comes out tonight or Deshaun Wynn comes out and they do a great job, well, maybe that can change. And we don't see these guys in the meeting rooms. Right. We don't see their attentiveness. We don't see them on the practice field any longer. The Saints coaches do that. So they may have other ideas besides what we see out here, what we've seen so far against the Patriots and the Texans.
And one more preseason game could also kind of help even all that out as well. Jim Henderson, thanks for joining us. Have a great call tonight.
Thanks a lot, Scott.
All right, stay with us. Still ahead, Saints General Manager Mickey Loomis joins us live. Plus, can the Saints defense be as stingy as it was a year ago? And later, Juan Kincaid takes you inside the mind of number 69.
Dissociative, schizophrenia, the bipolar, just things. I got a file cabinet that's huge.
It's all ahead on this special pregame edition of Fourth Down. Welcome back into our special pregame edition of Fourth Down. Joining us now live, Saints General Manager Mickey Loomis. Thanks for taking some time. The third preseason game always has a little more of a regular season feel because those starters play a little bit more, but an important night tonight for Patrick Ramsey. How pleasantly surprised, I guess maybe, are you guys with that backup quarterback position, considering how well Chase Daniel has played this preseason?
Well, again, both these guys, Patrick and Chase, have done well with the opportunities they've been given, and tonight, Patrick is going to get a little bit more of an opportunity to play with the first unit for a while, and so we'll see how he does. But so far both those guys have played well, and it's been a good competition.
Back at the start of training camp, you had said that there were still some talks going on about potentially getting that long-term deal for Pierre Thomas. Are those talks still going on, or is there anything closer in the negotiations between the two sides?
No, it's been pretty quiet this last month, and we're still hopeful that could happen, but at this point, there's nothing imminent.
Darren Sharper has yet to really get on the practice field. Would you be surprised if he's not available for that Vikings game?
No, I wouldn't say that I would be surprised, in either case. He worked out for us yesterday and did a good job, and we're hopeful, but we're just going to have to play it by ear. And the worst thing we could do is put him out there before he's ready.
The PUP list is still a possibility perhaps for him, and I guess explain how that decision would work.
Yeah, that's an option. If he's not ready to go in week 1 and we think it's going to be a number of weeks before he's ready to go, we could put him on that list, but once you do that, he's not available until after week 6.
All right, Mickey Loomis, thanks so much for joining us. Best of luck tonight.
Appreciate it.
Darren Sharper, 9 interceptions last year, led the team, tied for the NFL lead, and that attitude to try to get turnovers still prevalent with the Saints this offseason. The question is, will the results still be there? WWLTV.com's Bradley Handwerger goes inside the numbers.
26 interceptions.
Got hit from behind, loose in the end zone.
13 fumble recoveries. 39 total takeaways. That was in 2009. The question is, can the Saints replicate that output on defense for a second year in a row? New Orleans finished second in the NFL during its Super Bowl winning season, finishing one takeaway behind Green Bay. Listen to cornerback Tracy Porter, and you get the impression that there is no question at all.
Realistic for us is to expect more. I mean, we were second in the league. Our goal is to be tops in the league, and 39 wasn't good enough for us. But yet again, you know, it is second in the league.
But a check at recent history says the Saints are in for a fight if they're to come up with even as many interceptions and fumble recoveries as they had a season ago. In 2006, Chicago came up with 44 takeaways on its way to a Super Bowl berth. A year later, the Bears had only 33. San Diego led the league in 2007 with 48. A season later, the Chargers came up with only 24. And in 2008, Baltimore led the league with 34 takeaways, following that up with 32 in 2009. No team that ended in the top 3 finished with more takeaways the previous season. The Saints are confident they can buck the trend.
Too many people think turnovers just happen because whatever, you know, offense decides to put the ball on the ground. And we have a formula for the way we practice around here, for the drills we do, and we saw it pay dividends last year, and we've done the same thing this year, plus some.
There's one other thing playing in New Orleans' favor in 2010, Drew Brees and the Saints' prolific offense. And that, defensive coordinator Greg Williams said, means a lot more than you think.
People will work hard on trying to protect the ball, and they're overly protective against us because of our reputation. But when you have an offense that can score points like our offense, then the other offense has to freewheel and start doing things, which gives us the opportunity to do that.
Still, Williams puts the onus on his defenders to get the ball out no matter what. To make his point loud and clear, Williams forces the team to do 30 up downs when they don't get a turnover. That's not something they like to do.
As I've tried to preach here hard, they aren't giveaways, they're takeaways, and it's our job to go make the ball be ours.
Now, with Darren Sharper and his league-leading 9 interceptions not on the field yet, the question is, can they still do that?
I got a question for you. More likely to happen, Alex Brown gets 6 sacks or Malcolm Jenkins gets 6 interceptions?
I think Alex Brown has a better chance getting 6 sacks and Malcolm Jenkins 6 interceptions because Malcolm doesn't have the greatest hands and he's still learning the position, and that's a big part of it for Malcolm.
All right, don't forget, following every game this season, it's back. WWLTV.com's Fan Chat, Bradley Hanwerger and Jim Henderson taking your questions, giving their opinions. Bradley, thanks for joining us. Stay right there. Much more of this special pregame edition of 4th Down after the break. Still to come, what makes Anthony Hargrove tick?
The NFL did save my life because it gave me a goal. It gave me something to always keep my eye on.
Anything's possible. Anything's
Juan Kincaid sits down with the Saints defensive lineman when our special pregame edition of 4th Down returns. Juan Kincaid joining us now. Anthony Hargrove, his story probably can't be told enough.
You're right, Scott. Anthony Hargrove is living a dream, literally.
I get caught weird, crazy. I mean, I've been in the psych ward. I'm just on edge. I'm always on alert. I guess as of right now, I don't want anything to surprise me. You know, and some people call it crazy, you know, but people fear what they don't understand.
Welcome to the world and to the mind of Anthony Hargrove. Up until now, all you knew about number 69 was what you saw on Sundays. But he's much more complex than that. He's part psychic.
Super Bowl 44. You know, I had an envision of 44 in my head. I mean, I remember I wore 44. I remember I had this dream in college, you know, and it was almost to a T.
Part skeptic.
I guess because there's always so much. Just when you think you faced it all, you've seen it all, the world throws something new at you.
Part visionary.
I mean, just great people in our history. You know, I mean, they were always doing something. They were either always writing something or always speaking or always doing this. They were always on the move, you know, so I figured, you know, if that's the way I think and that's the way I feel, then maybe there's something more for me.
Born Anthony LaRon Hargrove, Tony has lived a hard life, growing up in Brooklyn, New York, living much of his life in foster homes and homeless shelters. Hargrove lost his mother to AIDS when he was just 9 years old. That was 18 years ago, but he relives that moment and so much more from his past on a nightly basis.
I guess when you've seen the things I've seen, you know, and your wants inside, far more reach than what's going on right now. Those dreams of greatness, of change, of doing more.
It's in his dreams that Hargrove sees both his transgressions and his accomplishments, his hopes and especially his fears.
Before it was a vicious, dark circle, the chaotic living. You know, for me growing up as a child, living from place to place, bouncing around, you know, that chaotic living, that getting caught in that chaos, and the vision of that is, you know, I'm looking, that's what I'm looking for.
For a time, bad places felt like home to Hargrove. It's what fueled his sleepless nights. His carefree lifestyle of the past, a time when Hargrove did what he wanted and paid for it later, still haunts him today.
I've dwelled so much in the negatives that I never focused on the positive. So for me, more it's looking at all the positives and looking at the direction my life is going and understanding and trying to put those things in place and perspective. And it's gotten to a point where, you know, those dreams or those visions, you know, have come true.
Hargrove's dreams are not uncommon for a person that's bipolar, which he was diagnosed as being many years ago.
I've been diagnosed with all kinds of things. I mean, from dissociative, schizophrenia, the bipolar, I mean, just things. I mean, I got a file cabinet that's huge.
But Hargrove understands that it's part of the reason why his deep, dark past has a platform today. It's also why he's been able to deal with what life throws at him today.
If I can put that in retrospect, you know, I just think about the last 8 years of my life, you know, of all the things that I've had to go through or put myself through, and the people that I met that didn't mean me any good, or just the bad relationships I made, and the way it pulled me down or it wore me, it just took me to places that it didn't go, you know, but I knew that I had to go home, and I knew that the point was to get back home, you know, and then I finally found a home here in New Orleans.
The type of home Hargrove hasn't experienced in many years, one full of love and support, one that doesn't want to see him fail, not only on the field, but off of it as well.
Football is definitely a tool for me now, but it gave me something to always keep my eye on. It gave me something to always shoot for. It gave me that kick in the butt or that extra when I was in treatment, when I was in rehab. It was a goal. It was always a goal. And so yeah, it definitely saved my life.
So what did I learn about Anthony Hargrove in that little piece is that this is the guy that's recognized his mistakes of the past and said, you know what, I made some mistakes, Scott, but you know what, to live my dream of playing in the NFL, I got to clean things up. And he has done that, and he's a better man for it.
It always seemed like he finally became comfortable in his own skin and found a team that was comfortable with him, the perfect match.
It was about getting an opportunity, and Sean Payton said that before. Every player in this league has done something that they regret in the past, but do you give him a second chance? And sometimes, in his case, a third chance. He's felt a lot of drug suspensions, but do you give him another chance? And they gave him a chance, and he's not going to let this chance go this time.
He might need a few more chances this preseason, a couple of personal foul calls, one on third down against New England, and Sean Payton was right in his ear, but it's hard to temper the kind of enthusiasm that he brings.
You don't knock the effort that he brings. Look, last year we saw what that guy could do when he's on the top of his game, gets a sack, gets a fumble for a touchdown. This is the guy you want to have on your football team because you know he has a lot to play for. But he wants to succeed in the NFL.
Third preseason game, we'll see the starters probably play the most time all preseason. What are some of the things you'll be looking for?
I think like everyone else, you're looking at the backups. Like Jim Henderson said at 5 o'clock, I want to see that Patrick Ramsey, Chase Daniel battle. I want to see who wins that backup quarterback job, and I don't think it's going to happen in this game number 3, but Ramsey needs to play well to show that he's still around for that opportunity to be the backup in game 4.
All right, Tracy Porter, Heath Evans, 2 starters who will not suit up tonight. Stick around. We wrap up this special pregame edition of 4th Down. We asked you on one of our WWLTV.com survey questions, how many games will the Saints win this regular season? 13. Between 10 and 12, 8 and 9, or 7 or fewer. The majority of Who-Dats believe it'll be a pretty good season for the Saints. Between 10 and 12 wins in the regular season. That'll do it from inside the Superdome. A special thanks to Saints General Manager Mickey Loomis for stopping by. For Jim Henderson, Juan Kincaid, Bradley Handwerger, and everyone else who makes this show work, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Saints and Chargers from the Superdome. It's the 3rd preseason game, and it's here on Channel 4. A complete post-game recap after the game.
Here with Saints backup quarterback Patrick Ramsey, fighting for that job with Chase Daniel. Chase Daniel plays very well against the Houston Texans. How does the young Patrick Ramsey look at a game like that when he knows he's in a competition with a guy as opposed to the Patrick Ramsey that sits here before us now, a guy who's been around the block a few times?
You know, I think the longer you play, the more you understand that all you can do is what you can control. All you can control is go out there and play as well as you can and execute in the offense and doing what the coaches ask you to do and let things kind of fall in place. You know, I've been everywhere. I've learned a lot. I've been in a lot of situations, and I think that's the best perspective I can have on it.
You have been quite a few teams, and what have you taken from those experiences? I mean, some guys, stay with one team for quite a while, but being with a few different teams has probably introduced you to a lot of different styles, a lot of different coaching styles. What are some of the nuggets you've really taken with you?
Yeah, it's been a lot of different things, and I think just kind of trying to learn all the different. I think the thing is sometimes it might be a law of diminishing returns at some point, but I think a lot of times you get exposed to a lot of different things that are successful for different teams. I mean, a lot of teams run the same things, but some guys kind of major in different areas, and I think when a certain team majors in a different area, when you move on, you kind of learn more about maybe that concept than you had in previous places. So I think you definitely get to learn from it if you dive into it.
Well, I know you're a Louisiana native. Has coming back to this state, has it been sort of everything you hoped it'd be? Because you had to have pretty good expectations about coming home.
It's been great. It really has. It's I'll tell you what, the best thing about this move, obviously, being here again in Louisiana, being close to home, but knowing the area. I think as you move into a place and you're trying to learn a new offense, you're trying to learn everybody around you, new people, the skill sets of the guys you're playing with, what they do well and what you need to capitalize on. Not having to learn a city is great. That's one fewer thing that you don't have to worry about learning.
If it should work out that you turn out to be the third stringer as opposed to the second stringer, how will you feel about that?
I don't know. I think I would like to be a part of this football team in any capacity. But obviously, at this point, my goal is to be the backup quarterback here. But if that is the case, then I fall in line and do what I'm asked to do as a 13 quarterback and continue to try to learn this offense and get better at it.
The San Diego game is obviously it would seem to be pretty big for you. What have you been told about what your role will be in the San Diego game? How much will you play?
Just what you guys have told me. We haven't talked necessarily about play time at this point, but from what I understand, Coach has said he's going to give me the opportunity to play more this week.
Yeah, Coach was talking about giving backup quarterbacks extended minutes to really see what they can do. I don't know, but you've got a lot of tape. I mean, do you think at this point that the Saints don't know what you can do? Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I don't want to speak for anyone, but I would say they would probably expect to they would like to see me run this offense in particular and the different things that we're asked to do, and I think that makes a lot of sense.
Ramsey here with Chris Reese, safety for the New Orleans Saints, and you got a lot of competition this year at the safety position. Boy, I mean, is this the hardest competition for 4 spots you've ever seen?
Absolutely, absolutely. The quality of guys that we have in the room are just ridiculous. I think everybody's been drafted at some point in their career except for me. But that's not something I'm worried about. And these things have a way of working themselves out. And coaches always say, don't worry about the count, don't worry about the 53, who's going to make it here or there. Do your job and do the best you can, and it'll all work out.
Well, and of course, a lot of those guys in the safety position are going to have to be playing special teams. And special teams, boy, I mean, it's been a real focus so far. The preseason results haven't been great. What are your thoughts on what's going on out there?
We're still trying to find our niche. We're still trying to find the guys that really fit in there. And we just got to have a nastier attitude. We got to keep working. We can't let this stuff beat us down. We got to learn from the mistakes we're doing. But I think everybody looks at the kick coverage aspect, but the return aspect, we're one of the best in the league. We've been in the top 5 the past 2-3 years. And I think people forget about that. And as a special teamer, you got to be able to do it all. You got to be able to, run and hit and block and catch and run. I mean, you got to be able to do it all.
How much has recovering that kick changed your life?
Man, it's changed my life a lot. I mean, people recognize me, which is crazy, I mean, on the street, especially the long hair. I'm humbled and I'm honored that people know my name around here, and it makes me work that much harder.
Well, now, you take a look at the way the preseason's gone so far. I mean, I looked at that from the first game to the second game, the market improvement. I mean, it was just like really night and day in so many respects. I mean, that first game, it's just a working out the kinks thing, and seems like you really worked them out in the second game.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're getting better every game, and I'm you never want to see the teams or the coverages you never want to see them break down. But if they do, it's better to do it in preseason than in the regular season. And I think we're working through a lot of things right now, and I think it's going to help us in the regular season. We're going to get stronger as the games go along. We're going to get more bonded together as a special teams unit, and we're going to come out stronger than we did last year. So I have the utmost confidence in the coaches and these guys around us. I mean, we're a great team. We got great quality players, and we're going to be great.
Every part of it's brand new. And whether it's the field down here, whether it's the lighting, the atmosphere, when we get through, and unfortunately it won't be finished till next year, it'll be as fine a stadium as any stadium in the country. Now, some might be a little bit larger, some might be a little smaller, but I'm going to tell you, it's going to be the finest stadium of any stadium in the country.
And it should last us for a long time?
Oh, it's going to last for a long time. It better last for a long time. We got about a 25-year lease.
And what about Champion Square, Mr. Benson? How do you think that's going to enhance the fans' experience?
Well, you know what? The whole deal about Benson Tower and Championship Square is that downtown needed a lift. You know, downtown needs something more than maybe just Canal Street or Bourbon Street. We need a lift, you know. And what a great nucleus. Here's a Super Bowl champions. Here's this great Superdome, the basketball arena, the other buildings right there. All these buildings right there, by the way, are 100% occupied too, or right at 100% occupied, all in that whole area. There's nothing like it. And this Championship Square is going to be something, as we keep developing it, it's going to be something used year-round, not just only for the football games. And the great thing about the Hyde and what's going on in Championship Square and the Tower and those things is that when we got the Super Bowl bid, you know, I was very optimistic and told them, I said, the Hyde's going to be ready. The NFL can have their headquarters right there, walking distance to everything you need. Isn't that going to be wonderful, you know? So I'm sure glad to see it's on track.
You had knee surgery in March. You haven't practiced fully yet in training camp. Are you behind in your rehab?
No, I won't say I'm right on schedule, depending on who you ask. On schedule to be ready for the first game. I think I will be ready to get some work in before that. Hopefully it'll be the last preseason game. I can get out there and try to knock some of the rust off because like you said, I haven't gone through a full practice yet this offseason, but I have a lot of practices under my belt, a lot of experience, so I think once I get back on the field, it should kind of click.
What limitations do you have with your left knee right now?
You know what, if I wanted to go out and run a 40-yard dash, could I run as fast as I ran back in the past last year? Now I would say I'm close. Don't know if I can just go out and do that. Maybe now the stamina to be able to get through a whole game is something I have to work to, and that's what practice is going to come into play. But those, I think, are the only differences now from this knee from last year being healthy as to where we are right now.
Will you be on the field September 9th against the Vikings?
If it's up to me, yes, sir. Definitely I will be.
Is it up to you?
Well, it has a little bit to do with me because I'm the one that has to push myself through rehab. We have great trainers that are doing everything in their possible realm to help me get back on the field. And then it's up to me to push myself to do the proper things once I leave from the facility, make sure I'm taking care of myself and continuing to do my rehab on my own. In the past, I've been a fast healer. With the nature of the injury that I have now, it varies from player to player. But I think what I had, I think I'm on schedule.
So you think you'll be back at practice next week and could possibly play against the Titans?
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping so. Had a good workout these last couple of days. Went through what you might want to call a DB workout, and I felt well. I felt as though I was able to do the things that I've done necessary or deemed necessary to get out there and play at a high level.
What do you say to critics that say, start Malcolm Jenkins now, let Sharper rest, to bring him back in the middle of the season?
You know, that's an option, but it's going to be up to me, and I think up to the coaching staff to see if I can go out there and play and do all the things that they expect me to do what our defense expects me to do, what my teammates expect me to do, then it'll be all right. But if I'm not ready to play, then that's another scenario.
Is he ready? Is Malcolm Jenkins ready if you're not?
With the team that we have, we can win. With me at safety, Malcolm at safety, Usama Young at safety, we have so many good players around us that it just doesn't come down to one player, and that's a luxury that we have. So whoever you plug in there, you know, will they do the things that I did when I was healthy? I won't necessarily say that, but I think that he has the potential, Malcolm has the potential, and I also feel like Usama Young has the potential to be quality starters in this league. So I think that they can get it done.
If you're on the field September 9th, of course, you'll be facing your former teammate, now current rival, Brett Favre. Glad he's back?
Very excited that he's back. The game, I don't think, would have meant as much as it's going to mean without having Brett at quarterback. You know, he just adds so much to the game. There'll be more people watching the game. We know our home crowd will be totally maxed out to capacity, but people watching the game on television, I think it'll be a lot more viewers than it would have been if just another quarterback was starting for the Minnesota Vikings. So it adds a little bit more to the hoopla, to the storylines of the game, and I like that, and I also like playing against one of the best quarterbacks to ever put on a uniform.
We've seen what he can do so late in his career. You're going to be 35 in November, coming off knee surgery. Can you still play at a high level like you did last year?
You know what, I definitely think so. Actually, I know that I can. The latter part of last year, I would say the last month of the season, I was dealing with this injury and played through it. I still felt as though I was able to be productive. Was that a guy that was playing the first half of the season, you know, intercepting balls and running back 90 yards? I wasn't that guy, but I still felt as though I was a productive player. You throw in the fact that now I have surgically repaired it, and it should be healthier than it was at the latter part of the season. I think that I can continue to play at a high level.
After the Chargers game, you and Roman Harper are going to host a party with United Way. Tell us a little bit about that.
You know, it's always good to give back, and I think that the way that we're deciding to do that, it makes it a lot more fun. Whenever you can have a celebration, it's going to be at the W Hotel Whiskey Blue. Proceeds are always going to support my foundation, Sharper Kids, and also Harper's Hope. And also we're going to have the United Way, who are extremely involved in giving back part of the proceeds to the people that kind of dealt with the oil spill. So the things that we're doing are all just trying to have a good time, do it for a good cause, and also give back, and hopefully we can benefit, others can benefit from the things that we're doing.
Darren, thanks for your time.
My pleasure.